Hello, I'm Sandra Chusa, and today we'll be presenting to you our market entry plan for Tata Motors into Indonesia. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce our team. This is Heather Martin, Eric Cowd, Marcus Rainey, and Jason Katz. So first, we'll just go over the agenda for today, what we'll be talking about. We'll give you an introduction of Tata Motors, then an introduction of Indonesia's strategic context, and then we'll talk about the environmental analysis, the potential target market, and the competitive assessment. Then we'll go into the market entry approach and our marketing mix.
Tata Motors was established in 1945 and is India's largest automobile company. It's also the fourth largest truck manufacturer in the world, and it's a leader in each segment of consumer vehicles. In 2009, we had consolidated revenues of around 20 billion. Tata Motors is part of the parent company Tata Group, which is comprised of over 90 companies and has a presence in over 80 different countries. Each company of Tata Group has their own shareholders and board of directors that they cater to. Their relationships allow Tata Motors to easily set up manufacturing sites abroad and to realize huge economies of scale. Tata Motors uses a standardized brand image and seeks international markets with similar consumer needs, and focuses on creating a long-term relationship with the government and organizations within the host countries. Our social initiative programs focuses on our four core values of employment, education, health, and environment. In 2004, we acquired Daewoo, which is a South Korean car company. And in 2005, we joined in a strategic alliance with Fiat, which produces both Fiat and Tata brand cars in India. And in 2008, we acquired the UK brands Jaguar and Land Rover from Ford Motors in the US. And we also entered into a joint venture to manufacture our Xenon pickup truck in Thailand at the Thornbury assembly plant. And in 2009, we acquired Hispano Carrocera, which is a Spanish bus and coach manufacturing company. Now Eric's
A bit on the environmental analysis of Indonesia. Really lucrative emerging market, estimates of 6% annual GDP growth over the next 4 to 5 years. And it's also a really lucrative emerging market because there's a lot of political support for foreign investment due to its nature as an emerging market and need for economic development. Some things that we want to be aware of while doing business in Indonesia is the highly bureaucratic business process. The nature of paperwork there can get kind of complicated, so we definitely want to seek strong relationships with government officials. It also has an underdeveloped legal and banking system, so in terms of contracts, that can make things difficult, the prosecution system and timeline if things go wrong from a B2B perspective. So that's going to help with us being such a large firm and going in as a wholly owned subsidiary, which we'll talk about later. Also, there's a dominant Muslim population, which we can use to our advantage because in India, they have the third largest region of Muslims in the world. So we have some experience with the Muslim demographic, if you will. And then also there's a cultural emphasis on family and friend business, doing business with families and friends. So we want to take that into consideration. And then also we want to take into consideration the threat of terrorism and make sure we're staying on top of our counter-terrorist analysis and what's going on in the region. Moving forward, Marcus is going to talk a bit about the target market.
All right, we decided to target two markets. First, we're going to target the 20 to 55-year-olds in the urban areas of Indonesia due to them possessing 75% of the nation's total gross income. They also hold the largest amount of discretionary income, which they have a tendency to spend instead of put into savings or investments. We'll be technically targeting the cost-conscious consumer and the multi-purpose vehicle segment, because, as you can see, the multi-purpose vehicles hold over 65% of the total automobile sales. We're also targeting the commercial segment because there's a huge need for transportation to and from the rural areas for their agricultural goods and such. So we'll be introducing our ACE pickup truck, or ACE truck. since only 46% of the roads in Indonesia are paved roads, there's a lot of dirt roads and such that need very reliable automobiles that we think our ACE pickup truck will be useful for. The Indonesian government is putting forth billions of dollars to improve their infrastructure. They are, for the problem of congestion on the roads, they are putting in raised roads in Jakarta, so the congestion in Jakarta, which is Indonesia's largest, most populous city, the transportation will be a lot less congested. And they're currently building the largest bridge in the world to connect the Java and Sumatra Islands. So this will also increase the need for transportation to and from major cities, which we think our ACE pickup truck will really be beneficial in capturing that piece of the target market. And now we'll go on Sandra with the competitive assessment.
So the recent acquisition of Jaguar Land Rover from Ford has given Tata many capabilities, including a number of manufacturing plants and a new high-class line to introduce to future and existing markets. That was a critical aspect that was missing before. Tata can introduce these luxury vehicles into Indonesia as its second phase of immersion after the first line of vehicles are introduced. While this acquisition is beneficial for Tata in the long run, this substantial amount of debt incurred from this $2.3 billion acquisition can negatively affect the company's financial condition. Additionally, the Indonesian market is currently dominated by Japanese firms. The top 10 vehicles sold in Indonesia right now are Japanese made, but Tata's strong global image after its introduction of the Nano, which is the world's cheapest vehicle, and also known as the car of the people, Tata can still have a strong effect on the market. And the last critical point as an opportunity for Tata and merging into new markets is the ability to identify similar markets to ones it already occupies, including Thailand and India. Identifying the specific needs of these local markets can enable Tata to take advantage of the opportunity to enter into the Indonesian market and surpass its Japanese competitors. Since Tata manufactures high-quality, low-cost vehicles, this will enable that the market demands. This will enable it to gain a substantial portion of the market share in Indonesia.
So, for our market entry approach, we have a two-phase urban incremental strategy, and then combined with our social initiative programs that will foster community development and create a positive brand image. And then we're going to talk about our other market entry alternatives and why we decided against them. So Tata Motors decided to use, for our market entry strategy, we decided to use a wholly owned subsidiary. It's the most risky and has the highest upfront cost, but it also provides the most control and the highest profits in the long run. We're going to set up our own dealerships in Indonesia and employ local workers and train them on our core values of service and maintenance. For our first phase, we're going to introduce 4 of our low-cost vehicles. One is the commercial vehicle, our ACE truck, and our 3 consumer vehicles will be the Xenon pickup truck, the Nano, which is the world's cheapest car, and the Sumo Grande multi-purpose vehicle. For our second phase, we're going to introduce our luxury brands after we've established a presence in Indonesia, which is our brands Jaguar and Land Rover.
For our social initiative, we're going to be focusing on economic development initiatives in Indonesia. There's a lot of NGOs and nonprofits in the area working on economic development in the rural sector. So we think this is an opportunity where we can get involved and, in essence, strategically donate trucks to these NGOs to help provide these farmers with capabilities of transporting their goods to the market, which in essence increases profits by cutting their costs. This is a really popular method for a lot of NGOs working with economic development. So we want to get involved with that. We think that will really help with our brand development and also potentially create a new revenue opportunity because In the future, they might be seeking contracts to be increasing capital of these trucks for transportation for rural farmers. So if we can get involved with that, they might look at us as a very cost-effective car that we are and seek to use our trucks for farmers in the long run. So we think this will definitely build some good relationships while doing a good cause. Next, Jason's going to talk a bit.
So some of the things that we considered were the usual types of market entry strategies: export, franchising, licensing, of course acquisition, strategic alliance, and JVs. We really eliminated the first kinds because we really don't operate that way. We enter markets either through a wholly owned subsidiary or a joint venture. We explored the option of a joint venture with a company, another Indian company, but we felt that due to the already well-established distribution and production networks in the region, we would be able to have that kind of market entry that would be substantial, but also not have to worry about some of the kind of infrastructure that needed to be built in the region on our logistical side. But we also had to deal with a lot of the risks that we talked about: high rates of corruption and bureaucracy, a substandard legal system that would cause a lot of issues for us in case a partner decided to go against us, as well as potential loss of IP, intellectual property rights. Like I said, the pre-existing manufacturing distribution networks made it a real wise choice for us to go in as a wholly owned subsidiary, and also for us to have a lot more control over our individual dealerships, because the one thing that we pride ourselves on as a big part of our brand strategy is the fact that we are a great company that focuses on customer service, and that is our #1 aspect, is our customers and their satisfaction. And so we feel that we have the greatest amount of control by doing so. Like I said, and like we've talked about already, the two-phase implementation of our brand strategy. First with the low-cost segment with our MPVs, trucks, and small vehicles, the Nano, the Sumo Grande, and the Xenon. And then, of course, moving into the second phase, which is capturing the luxury market, introducing the Jaguar and the Land Rover. While it's a much less smaller segment of the market, is still a segment that is actually almost completely untapped. The Japanese market has not introduced that high-end segment yet, so that's something we would like to institute after we build up a great brand image in Indonesia from a lot of the things that we've talked about so far. Brand image of cost effectiveness, highly involved community, consistent excellence in customer service, all things we've emphasized already. And of course the social development initiatives that Eric just talked about, working with the government and NGOs, and further actually developing our business with a lot of the USAID things that can be done in the future with further infrastructure. Like we talked about, 3 consumer vehicles, the Nano, which is hovering around $25 to $100 US dollars. It changes every few months about the price point due to economic conditions. The Sumo Grande, which is an MPV, as well as Xenon, which is a double cab pickup truck. Properly priced for the low-end market, which is more of the middle class in Indonesia. They're the ones with the most amount of capital to be able to afford these vehicles, as well as one commercial vehicle, which is the Ace truck. And it'll be priced relative to the commercial market on a commercial commercial price scale. And of course the luxury brands marketed at a higher price point to deal with those types of that type of market. Real quickly, these are the 4 vehicles: the Ace, the commercial vehicle, Sumo Grande, the Nano, and the Xenon. And Marcus can talk about distribution.
I'm just going to touch briefly on distribution. We are importing